Hi, Elke.
Hello.
Hi. So, thank you for taking time out and for sharing this testimonial with us. I'm going to introduce, this is Dr. Elke Smeets, and she is a trauma-informed therapist and so much more than that as well. And I'm super excited to be really sharing the growth and the transformation that you've had. And we were just talking, Elke was in a retreat I ran back in 2018. And since then, you've been in different immersions and you worked with me one-to-one as well, from a one-to-one coaching perspective. So we had so many different journeys, so many different multidimensional explorations in all of the different containers, and so many changes have happened for you in your life and who you are. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to you so you can share some of that.
Yeah, so thank you, Alara. Thank you for inviting me to share about my experiences. So yeah, back at the retreat in 2018, I clearly felt when I met you that the type of experience I had by being in the retreat with you, in your presence, that you clearly are somebody who practices what you preach, and that really drew me in. I'm very impressed by your way of existential teaching, and that's very much unlike, I mean, I've met great people in my life professionally, but this was something very specific that drew me to work with you. The fact that you don't just go and follow a course and then restate it to people and then sell what you learned. No, what you bring to people, and the quality and the depth of the transformation that you provide to people is something that I find very, very highly valuable. And that's where we started our journey. And then I followed your work for a little while, and then I think at the beginning of the lockdown I started to work one-on-one with you for my business. At that point, I had my business for 2 years, and I was mainly freelancing, and I had no idea what I was doing.
With, like universities, and you were going in and doing teaching for them, and
yes,
if I remember rightly, actually, they were getting you to do a huge amount of work and you weren't getting enough money for it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like I still have a number of valuable collaborations in my business with other organizations, still also at the university. But since working with you, it really made me understand how to get my strategy in place and how to automate certain things and how to dare to raise my prices. And it wasn't just talk about here's a set of steps you work through and then you will pivot in your business. You really helped me work through certain shadow parts that were holding me back from stepping up in my business. You really taught me how to be empowered and to, you know, like whenever I felt I was, you know, caught up in old stories, you taught me very tangible strategies to rebalance and to really be again empowered and grounded, and then focus on what I wanted to do in my business. And I guess I'm very thankful also for how you helped me break through those glass ceilings, so to speak, because I mean, there's many business coaches out there who give you a set plan of, okay, do this, and this, and this. But if you don't work on that multi-dimensional level that you help me to work with, I mean, you can know all these things, but then it's still surface level. It's yeah. Sometimes we hold ourselves back so much, and you've really helped me to work through that. And whereas I believe that we're never a finished process, a product, and we're still evolving and growing, you certainly have helped me very, very intensely on that level of breaking through glass ceilings. And I ended up daring to raise my prices. I am more visible. I could still be more visible, but I think again, we're not
like layers, isn't it? It was layers. And you were, I think the first thing, I think it was maybe the first session or second session, I was like, you need to double all your prices. And I remember you were like, or was it even triple? I can't remember. But that was just like absolute fear. That was a trigger for, you know, you to even, am I going to lose all my clients? What's it going to do? And it's like this breaking free of like, I access something you can't see yet. And it's like guiding you to the more expansive version of yourself. But it's this level of, we need to recognize there's a kind of an identity and all the the fears that go with it that we hold on to. And you were starting to having like 10K months and, you know, really beginning to have a lot more freedom in your business when you're bringing more money in, essentially.
Definitely, and to be a bit more clever about how you earn your money as an entrepreneur, to not, you know, only have to be present to earn money, but, you know, you really inspired me. And as we work through those inner blocks, really, I mean, I now have a passive revenue income stream that I set up, and that I think that's fantastic, you know, like, and somebody can tell you, you know, you can listen to a podcast, somebody can tell you about doing business, and it's also important to set up a passive revenue stream. Yeah, but that's, you know, it's again just information. You really helped me to work through those deeper levels where I was blocking myself. And then, yeah, adding on to the knowledge of, yeah, it's interlocking those two. It's not just knowing about these things, it's working on a deeper level, which has helped me a lot. Yeah, and that's why
Money, soul, and magic one, you had quite a lot of, we were doing rituals, weren't we? And then suddenly you were getting the money straight in. So it was like showing everything as a level of energy play and alignment. So it's like being willing and daring enough to have the clarity of what you want, and then bringing yourself into alignment. And it's kind of everything just comes in very quickly. And it's, I think that even in itself is a very tangible, physical experience to go through, knowing that you're not dependent on me. I'm teaching you how to do it, and you're doing it yourself, and it's getting these results first time round as well, wasn't it?
Exactly. And that's also what I really appreciate about working with you. You don't make people dependent on you. You teach them how to really be grounded in themselves and learn to access their inner strength and the soul, the strength of the soul. And then you teach your clients how to do it themselves, right? And indeed, like in the Money, Soul, and Magic immersion, I tried out a manifestation ritual, and it's just very empowering to see that when you do that yourself, that it works, it can work. A lot has to do also with trust, and trusting in your own abilities to be able to, you know, manifest certain things. Yeah.
One of the things that is very different that I know is not taught, and this is really from my kind of like more ancient lineage, is that you have to clear the debts. You have to have the availability, your hands open, your energy field open, your bank account ready, and is able to receive the extra abundance. And most people are trying to manifest from almost like a clogged up kind of container. They haven't let go of the other stuff, but they're desperately to try and stuff some more things in. And it's the energetic misalignment. And that was the key thing. We always go through a process in all my immersions that we do, is there's a level of clearing and like preparing yourself before we actually do the you know, whatever the manifestation or whatever it is that we're working towards, because your energy field, your nervous system is not ready just for you to dump something completely new into it. There is a level of assimilation, and it means bringing into alignment mind, body, and soul, and the nervous system and the body consciousness. And it's working really and this is obviously what I teach, because I want people to understand themselves as far more whole than what they've, you know, been brought up to believe they are. And that empowers you to know that, okay, well, if something's out of sync, it's out of sync with me, therefore I've got the key to the cage. I can, you know, find a way of digging into that.
Yeah, and therefore somebody wouldn't be able to receive. And I think again here, that's a beautiful example of when, you know, somebody would just teach a 5-step plan to manifestation, it just wouldn't land, it wouldn't work. Whereas, you know, like I've never learned about manifestation the way I have with you, and it's because you teach it on a much deeper level, and you really include, okay, so how are you blocking it yourself? Not because you're to blame, it's not about blame, it's about really knowing and understanding what is needed to be able to actually receive what you're wanting to manifest.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, very, very grateful for being able to learn about it with such great depth. It goes beyond other things I find that are out there. Yeah.
And I think it's also the awareness of, you know, the ancients understood this stuff. And if we pull in some of the more ancient lineage information, it's all about energetics. But there's so much that's surface level being shared, and it's useful because it means people will go to wherever they're most aligned to learn, but then they'll get stuck, and then it leads them to need to go deeper. Whereas, you know, whoever comes into my space knows that, you know, I always get to the root in whatever I'm going to.
Definitely, and getting through the root also involves working with your shadows, and it really requires a safe space to go there. And yeah, you've been teaching me, you've been teaching the others in the programs how to create that safety within, and that we shouldn't fear the shadow because it's also part of us and we could work with it. I remember, you know, sessions we did with the group where we actually were
shadow work.
Literally working with the shadow.
That wholeness thing, isn't it? It's operating and teaching, and all of my body of work is that you're not broken. It's like, it's recognizing you for your wholeness, and in that way we get to see the miracles. And that's where there's differences in all the different teachers, because they're bringing it all through from their own lens of perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that was very valuable, and I mean, I still to this day I use some of the practices to, you know, when I feel overwhelmed, like, I mean, to really on a deeper level reset yourself so you can carry on with your day. All of that is very empowering.
And the energy clearing, especially when you're going through big leaps, like when you make changes out of your comfort zone, you're going to be triggered, all your stuff's going to come up. So the tools that you had as well to practically use them at home, you know, you weren't saying I need to wait until I can see a layer. It's like I have the tools to reset, and I have to just be accountable to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, to be able to, and to know that you can do that yourself, that you can pull yourself out of this merry-go-round of being triggered by yourself is very empowering. And, you know, I guess also in terms of visibility, apart from being therapist psychologist, I'm also a singer. And before I started working with you, I felt very blocked because I thought, oh, music didn't have such a central place in my life as I wanted it to have. And through the work we did, all of a sudden, I was back on stage. I did an audition. I was chosen to be part of a very, very lovely theater music project. I'm on stage very frequently as a performing artist, next to what I do as a psychologist. And not only, I don't only work as a psychologist, I teach professionals, and it's just, you know, like, I used to know how to teach a group of people, but now because you help me to connect with my ability to channel and to reconnect with my intuition, I always have 200% trust when I'm in front of an audience. And yes, my nervous system could still signalize to me, oh, there's stress in my body, but I have a deep sense of trust. And, you know, like sometimes, like this weekend, I needed to speak at a conference, and then you need to prepare slides. And I actually don't like preparing slides because I just know I can put myself in front of an audience and I will always know the right words to say. It's not that I don't prepare talks. I just show up, I connect with the people around me, and it flows through me. And that's really, you know, it makes my work so much more pleasant. And I knew I had that within me already before, but you really reconnected me to that, to that talent, to that gift, to that soul remembrance, I guess.
The voice is really important, because that was all about opening up that channel and being heard, and your visibility. And you're recording an album as well now, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, and that's lovely. I mean, it's great to, just go ahead. It's just, you know, like, it's lovely now, like having this conversation after having worked a couple of years together, and it's exciting me to think back, like, wow, yeah, all of these shifts, they really happened, you know, like, and I did a PhD in psychology. I'm not the type of person who goes like, yeah, this transformation, I followed one course and now I'm healed. I'm not that type of person. I'm a very grounded person, and I can fully say with my hand on my heart, I guess for everybody listening to this, these are real shifts I went through. This is not just, oh, I'm impressed because I did one meditation and now I'm there. No, this is on many different levels. I've seen these shifts, and yeah, I'm liking it.
It's so nice to hear it, because what it really brings together is exactly what I said a minute ago, was you've allowed all of you to come online. And I see this so much, that people are living like, I go to work and I put this mask on and I only allow this little bit of expression. Then I go home and I put my hat on, I'm a mum and I'm this. And it's like this splitting. This is what society has taught us to do. And obviously I'm here to dismantle that and help people come back into their unique wholeness, which is where all your power gets to be. It means you do get to have the money, and you get to have the, you know, the career or the entrepreneurial piece, and you also get to have the creative stuff, you know, and you do get to be visible. It's everything. It's about, and the old paradigm made us split, meaning everything was about sacrifice, this or this. So of course we stay in limitation. So it's almost like bringing all parts of you, you know, into the table, and then letting you just flourish and see what needs to come through. And the opportunities, they're always going to match what you're willing to step into. So the minute you say yes to like even working with me, all of the process starts for the stuff to come up, us to shift it, and the opportunities come in. It's like we have to be the lead, we're the leaders, we're the creators, but we've been brought up in a society, and even linguistically, and the old paradigm patriarchal stuff teaches us to not think we have any power, when actually we are part of this whole creative, you know, piece that we're in. It's exciting. It's great to see that in you, because it shows it's possible for other people. And actually, this isn't just something that's taken 2 years. You've actually been in the mix, getting the results very, very quickly, actually.
Very quickly.
The money shifted really quickly as well for you. That ultimately, the money supports you in being able to have your creative soul expression. And that is actually how money is meant to work. But we obviously, you know, a lot of the old money stories make us fear and battle and have scarcity. So it's breaking free from all those narratives and seeing that your life can flourish, and it flourishes again, again, again. You get to have more.
Yeah, and you know, like what's interesting is that when we started working, just as an example of how I was getting results quite quickly, is that we started working one-on-one on business coaching in the midst of the pandemic. When we started working, before we started working, 80% of my freelance things that I had scheduled were canceled, and I was very worried, but because right before we started working, I had signed a contract to buy an apartment, and even though everybody else was losing money, I also lost that chunk of money. But because you taught me to be more in alignment with what I find important, I started generating new income streams, passive revenue streams, and my revenue in the year 2020 was even so much better than in 2019. So it was, I lost money and it was more in alignment. And then I remember sitting with my accountant, and he was, how did you pull this off? I said, yeah, I pulled it off.
It's multi-dimensional magic. I'm working with my soul, and my soul says, you know, I need the support to live the life I want. So I'm following that.
And I guess also what you were saying is interesting, this narrative of it can be and I guess, you know, working with you has taught me how from a soul perspective, from a multi-dimensional perspective, to be able to trust that and is possible, but also that I have the capacity in my soul, body, nervous system to hold and
yeah. And that takes tweaking, because we've been wired, you know, through kind of our genes, our DNA, our ancestors' experience, for scarcity and struggle. You know, we're holding those imprints, so we have to kind of, you know, remove that level of illusion, if we want to call it, because it doesn't need to be the scripts that we're defining our lives by now. And, you know, that is part of the work that, you know, I'm here to do as well. It's paradigm shifting, and it is opening up the potential that this isn't just unique for you. This is the pattern of the stuff that happens for, everyone that comes into my spaces. And, as much as you are willing to lean into your own potential, that essentially is what is then being opened up for you.
Yeah. And I also remember as one of the very sudden shifts that I encountered, like as I was starting to raise my prices, some other organizations that I was working with, they were trying to convince me to keep my prices at the lower rates. Also, I in that moment, I could see my own worth and I could stand up for myself, and I chose to let certain collaborations go. And I also recently had an example where I wasn't treated fairly, and I managed to stand up for myself, and I wasn't going to accept being treated poorly. And they realized their mistake, and we went along as I suggested that we would go along. So I mean, the version of myself maybe 2.5 years ago wouldn't have even dared to negotiate or to stand up for my own position. So that's also I really appreciate seeing that in myself, and this is also thanks
boundaries, to self-worth, and it's also a level of I guess I hold the Sekhmet energy. So it's like there's no way somebody's gonna treat me badly and I'm not gonna say anything. It's like it allows it to be possible for others. We've been kind of suppressed, and no, this is time to change the dial, basically. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. And is there anything else, like what you obviously had your own in-depth training before you came to me. So what were you actually dipping your toe into? What were you doing before you came into my world?
What was I doing? I was doing some soul work, some work with the Akashic records I had explored. That was very interesting. But I guess, and also what was I working with? I mean, as a psychologist, you're very focused on personal development work, and I was very focused on working with mindfulness, meditation, all of those things, very helpful, but to a certain degree, right? I'm very focused in my work in helping people become more self-compassionate. Again, all very valuable things, but the depth you added was what I was looking for. Like, okay, those strategies are helpful, but then to also add working on a soul perspective in a multi-dimensional way, that was something I thought was very valuable to add to all the other modalities I had been working with and had dipped my toes into. So everything I've done before has now gained a greater depth. Also in the work one-on-one that I do with my clients, there's more depth to everything. Yeah.
Which is great, because we talked about this before. There was a fear about bringing more of yourself into what you're doing, which is an old system, and it's an old patriarchal system. So you being able to bring your unique tone, so it's not about becoming me or copying me, it's about your own embodied, integrated version of what you have locked in, sharing that with those people that are aligned to work with you. And that's how we start making changes in the world. It's not, we access our inner genius by that existential locking in and changing, so our own unique tone comes through. And this is the difference. When you're learning copycat, you never ever access your own inner genius. Therefore, you never attract really the most aligned experiences or people into your life.
Definitely. And another thing I was thinking of just now as you're sharing what you're saying is like, I act on guidance and intuition much more quickly. Like a couple of months ago, just a thought or intuitive guidance came. I thought about, I must explore crystal sound healing. And so I did. And I didn't want to find out all about all the scientific knowledge about crystal sound healing. I just felt I need to do it. I went to do it. I followed one training, got myself a set of balls, and it wasn't that the training that helped. It was me following my guidance, and as I'm playing these crystal sound balls, it reconnects me with ancient remembering. And this is also something I learned from you, to learn to trust guidance, to act on it quickly, to not sit around waiting on a fence. And I've now just recently, without any hustle, sold out a one-day retreat day within a week. I didn't even need to do hustling with marketing or anything. I just put it out there. I had intuitive guidance to organize that day. I was intuitively guided to the location where it's held. There's also crystal sound healing as part of it. I put myself out there. There were some skeptics in my field. It was like, what? You're going all woo-woo now? And it didn't even bother me, you know, like I just felt, wow, when it's in alignment, I really enjoyed the flow that came with it, and working in that way. It's very interesting. It's very much moving away from the old model of having to put in a lot of energy and effort. And I could experience that firsthand now, that if you follow your intuitive guidance and as an entrepreneur, you put out an event into the world with, I mean, the flow.
The right energy. Yeah.
That was lovely. That was really great.
And that's amazing. And obviously also, it kind of means that who cares what they think? We're not here to please everyone. We don't need your opinion, thank you. I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm not here to serve and get validation from somebody else. So it's like when we set ourselves up from that, if it's just me, source and soul, really, as long as I'm in alignment with that and it's coming from the right place, then the rest will just have to drop away because I'm just not available for it. And it's kind of like stepping into that power rather than going, if I do this, people will judge me or think about this. And that's this separation consciousness that keeps everybody stuck.
Yeah. And that's, I think, also a very important learning I got from you, is that to dare to bring all of me to the table. And I just see it now with this selling out this event in a week's time, in a time where people are not very willing to spend money, and they did. It's just, this is an event where I decided, and not even decided, I was guided to bring all of me to the table, and it just flows. And this is great. This is a great way of doing business. It doesn't feel like struggle. I wasn't trying to prove anything to anybody. I was just being true to me, to myself, to my guidance. I put it out into the world, and I guess I trust that the right people signed up, and I'm looking forward to the event at the end of this month.
And was there any, obviously you found me somehow for the retreat, but was there any one thing, if it was to give advice to anyone else that was thinking about working with me, was there one thing that attracted you to think I, need to work with Valera?
I just really trusted you because you practice one, and what I said in the beginning, you practice what you preach. I really felt that you're working on an existential, deep, multidimensional level, and you don't beat around the bush. I love that about you. You're not like the love and light crew. No, you're very, very grounded and very knowledgeable, and you tap into your guidance and you bring it through, and you're pivoting the whole time. I find, as an entrepreneur, as a human being, I find it so inspiring, and I want to surround myself with people who know how to pivot, people who are able to trust, people who don't follow the crowd. And that's what I saw in you, and that's what really convinced me that it was safe to invest in working with you. Because I mean, here I was in Belgium seeing, I met you in England when I was there for the retreat, but then I saw some things online from you, and I just knew I could trust you. So I'm glad I did.
Great. I mean, that is, and it's been an amazing, if we think about it, we were just saying it's 2018, that's gone in a flash, but how much life can change so quickly. And, it's only as limited really as how big we're willing to dream and say yes to ourselves. And that takes some practice, and that's with all of us, but it's activating that magic or the miracles that can come through us. And quite frankly, the results and the level of transformation, it does come in that kind of category. Some people just would not have ever even experienced that. And that is now sharing that this is possible for all of us.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for joining. As you can hear, I've got some little chirps from my cat coming in. Bella, always. I mean, she has to come in. She comes in with my
Definitely,
doesn't she? Saying hello. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate you sharing all of that. And thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.